video is an overview of the Beery VMI 6th edition and the supplemental development tests, visual perception, and motor coordination. It will cover general information, materials needed, administration, scoring, and strengths and weaknesses. The test was developed in 1967 and the latest revision in 2010. The target populations are ages 2 through 100 for the full form and 2 through 7 for the short form. The tests are norm-referenced and standardized. The overall purpose of the Beery VMI and its supplemental tests are to assess the degree of visual motor integration, coordination, and other abilities such as cognition and attention. It is also used to screen and refer individuals who need further intervention. Also, it is used for research purposes and to analyze the effectiveness of the individual's education system. The materials needed include a manual, appropriate test booklets, a timer, a protractor, which may be used during scoring, a number 2 pencil without an eraser, or an ink pen may also be used. The materials were constructed in a way to prevent visual difficulties or distractions. For the full form, the client is presented with 30 geometric figures and forms. They are ordered to be developmentally sequential, meaning they progress in difficulty. He or she is simply asked to recreate the drawings in the empty box below. In the short form, the client is presented with 21 geometric forms with, again, 3 on each page. Similarly, the client is asked to recreate the drawings in the boxes below. The Beery VMI examiners must present proof of a bachelor's degree in psychology or related fields. For research and screening purposes, any intelligent adult who is familiar with the assessment is allowed to proctor the test. However, when it comes to scoring, the examiner should have specific experience in psychology, learning disabilities, or comparable occupations. There is no formal training necessary for examiners. However, experience for reliable test administration and scoring is encouraged. It takes 10 to 15 minutes to administer the short and long forms separately, and supplemental visual perception and motor coordination tests, respectively, take 5 minutes each.
It is not necessary for all forms of the test to be administered. However, if they are, they should be given in this specific order. First, the Beery VMI, then the visual perception subtest, then the motor coordination subtest. This test can be administered individually or in a group form. It is important to administer the Beery VMI first, followed by the subtest. We will now demonstrate how to administer this test to an individual. The examiner should first give the client a sharpened number 2 pencil without an eraser or a pen. The test booklet should also be placed face down in front of the patient. Ensure that the client's body position and booklet are centered and squared throughout the test period. Different positions of the booklets and participant can greatly alter the test comprehension and results. When demonstrating the task, the examiner should hold the booklet. However, when completing the task, the client should hold the booklet. If the client is unable to hold his or her own test booklet during the test, then the examiner should hold the booklet. Before the test begins, some examiners may remove the booklet cover so that they can score and make observations during the test. It is very important for the examiners to use their observation skills to develop appropriate variations for the client's needs. In addition, this test may be used to build rapport between the examiner and the client. It may also be used to make general observations.
Raw scores are recorded on page 23 of the test booklet. An overall results are scored on page 24. Throughout the test, observations about the child and their performance should be written accordingly. Only the first figure drawn by the participant is scored. A total of 1 point can be administered per each figure. Add 1 point for correctly imitated or copied items and subtract 1 point for incomplete items. Scoring is based on a score to no score criteria. For example, if a child completes item 7 successfully, then they are automatically rewarded points for previous items 1 through 6. All testing and scoring stops after 3 consecutive failed items. For inexperienced scorers, refer to pages 30 through 76 in the manual. Observe sample forms that illustrate if a point should be given or not. A protractor read clockwise is used only when needed to compare angles of the subject's drawings to the angles in the scoring manual on those pages. Because new scorers tend to be stricter than experienced scorers, the rule when scoring a form is that when in doubt, the form should be scored as if it meets criteria and the participant should be given the point. When it comes to scoring procedures for supplemental tests, such as the visual perception test, you want to make a circle around incorrectly answered items at the item number and a dash by the correctly answered item form. A maximum of 30 points can be given total. The raw scores are converted to a number of derived or normalized scores that are compared to norms of an age or diagnosis matched population. The manual in pages 180 through 207 has charts that are used to convert the raw scores to standardized scores based on age. After the standardized score is identified for each test, it should then be recorded in the summary box in the full form of the Beery VMI. Administrators should graph scores on the Beery VMI booklet and use the manual, page 94, to help with standard score interpretation.
Overall, there are many strengths and weaknesses of the Beery VMI assessment. To begin, the strengths of the test are that it's very quick and easy to administer. You can administer it in a group or just to an individual. It has very strong reliability and validity. It's non-threatening, culture-free, and non-verbal. It serves as a research tool and it provides teaching resources. The weaknesses of this test are that untrained examiners decrease the interscorer reliability. It is not a measure of functional handwriting. Behavior of the participant can affect results. Test scores are not sufficient for diagnosis, and physical limitations can impact performance.